You were a 14-year-old human. Your school had a challenge where if you could survive a night in the forest with four monsters, you would basically be able to pass the next couple school years without even attending at all. You decided to try it since you had done research on the monsters. You knew that the youngest, the one in orange, had the ability to extend his neck way too far, to about 50 feet. The one in blue looks dead and soulless, but is completely alive, and with his soul intact. The happier he is, the worse the decay looks. With the one in purple, well, he looks monstrous. But the more you like him, the more you get along with him, the less monstrous he looks. But he always looks at least a little creepy. Lastly, the one in red. Every time he smiles, gets overly happy, or is angry, his head splits open to reveal rows and rows of razor-sharp teeth. One day you decided to take part in the challenge. You had heard that no one came back. When you get to the forest, you turn on your phone and headphones and listen to music as you walk. Eventually, you find an old cabin. You figure that's where the monsters live, but you were lost, so you figured you could at least try to ask for directions. So you go up to the house after having put away your phone and headphones, and you knock on the door. The eldest one, who's wearing a red mask, opens the door. He looks surprised and is trying his best not to smile as he says, "Oh, hey, what brings you here? Don't you know how dangerous it is? Okay, how about you come in?" He has you come into the house. You nervously thank you, and I know that it's dangerous. My name's Listener. I've heard of you. He gives up on not smiling, and his head splits wide open as he smiles, and he says, "Well, I'm Raph. Nice to meet you, Listener. So, what have you heard about me? You seem a bit scared of all the sharp, pointy teeth, but you figure he's happy, as you say." "Nice to meet you too, and I've heard that when you're mad or happy, that happens. And I'm guessing the other ones are friends of yours?" He casually says, "They're my little bros. Come on, I'll introduce you." You start to calm down, then you say, "Okay, I think I've heard of them too." Then Raph asks, "Well, can you tell me what you've heard about them?" Then you cheerfully say, "Well, according to what I keep hearing and what I saw in the research I decided I needed to do, the purple one looks monstrous, but the more someone likes him, the less like a monster he looks to them. The one in blue looks decaying and soulless, especially if he's happy or flustered. And the one in orange can extend his neck up to 50 feet. Raph chuckles and is honestly happy about how, well, happy you seem, as he says, "Well, looks like you know quite a bit. And the one in purple's Donnie, the one in blue's Leo, and the one in orange is Mikey. I'm sure you'll end up to be their friends too." Later, and you'd already become friends with them in the 3 hours you had been there. You had gotten there at about 9, and it was now midnight. Mikey notices that you seem like you're about to leave, so he wraps his neck around your arm so you can't leave, as he says, "Listener, please don't go." You gently pat Mikey's head as you say, "I'm not allowed to leave the forest until it's time to go to school, so if it's really what you want, then I guess I don't have to leave." Leo looks very decayed, kind of like a zombie, so you can tell that he's happy, as he says, "Well, I think we all agree. You need to stay." You chuckle and say, "I guess. Especially because I don't really have much of a choice." After a bit, you and the boys are just in the living room watching Jupiter Jim. You fully intended on sitting on the floor, but Ralph wouldn't let you. He had you on his lap so that he could ensure that nothing bad would happen to you. You're blushing a little as you start to realize that in the 3 short hours you've been with them, you've developed a crush on all 4 of the turtles. Later, when you have to leave, the turtles escorted you to the edge of the forest. When the rest of the people in your school see, because they wanted to know if you had survived, they're surprised to see you and the quote-unquote monsters walking together and happily chatting. One of your teachers says in shock and horror, "Listener, the monsters, they're..." You cut her off by saying, "They are turtles, and my friends, not monsters." Leo grabs your hand, and his hand feels oddly the same as Mikey's. So you look at him curiously and see that he's scared. In fact, all 4 of them are. Then you see one of your teachers is about to shoot Mikey. So you grab him, causing yourself to get shot instead. The boys immediately panic, and Ralph goes into overprotective big brother mode and blocks you from further harm. Your breathing is slow and yet steady as you remove some gauze, medical tape, and tweezers from your bag. Leo understands what you're doing, so he gently lifts up your shirt just far enough to easily remove the bullet, which was just a few inches above your waistline. Then Donnie takes the tweezers, since he's the most steady-handed, and he gently removes the bullet. You cautiously wrap the gauze around and over your wound, and secure it with the medical tape. Then you quietly say, "Thank you, boys." And Mikey says, "No, thank you. I'd be dead if you hadn't taken the blow." You chuckle and say, "Well, I don't need my friends dying now, do I?" After a while, and that teacher had gotten arrested. Sure, he was trying to shoot Mikey, which most people wouldn't have had an issue with, but he shot you and nearly killed you. So the cops figure it's better to be safe than sorry. After a while, and you're in the school, everyone's asking you how you became friends with what they viewed as monsters. But every time one of them asked, you just said that they are sweethearts, nothing to be scared of. After a while, and you had been visiting the turtles almost every day, your parents just thought you were going to go visit friends. You were just not the sort of friends they thought. After a while, and the turtles decided to confess something. When you had gotten there that day, you noticed that the boys are a little more quiet. So you ask, guys, something wrong?" You notice that Leo looks really decayed, so you can tell by the fact that it's obvious that he isn't happy, that he's flustered. So you immediately say, okay, what's going on? Did I miss something? Then Raph says, listener, we have something we need to tell you. You look at them in confusion, and you ask, what's up? And then Mikey says, listener, to put this simply, we all love you. And not just, friends sort of way. You blush, and since Mikey's neck had extended, as is usual for when he's flustered too, he had accidentally wrapped it around you. You hadn't really noticed since you were used to the feeling of him, but he ended up pulling you to him and hugging you. After a bit, when you all had calmed down, you had admitted that you liked them back. After a few weeks of you and them dating, everyone at your school had found out because you had it written in one of your notebooks, and one of your classmates found the notebook and saw the writing and told literally everyone after giving you back the notebook. So people had often teased you about it, calling you things like monster lover or the lover of murderers. You didn't understand that one because you knew the boys would never hurt anyone. Well, they might, just not intentionally. Later on, you're just back at the cabin with the turtles. And you happily say, I love you guys. Donnie says, love you too, dear. Raph says, love you too, dog. Mikey says, love you too, sweetie. And Leo, seeing as he knows Spanish, decides to say, Te amo, Jambin, mi amo, Jamila. Then you gave them each a kiss, then you all fell asleep while cuddling and watching Jupiter Jim, like usual.